big way. Can you define this whole gap, right? Like, what is this problem? Like, if you can define the problem, that can make it easier for even people from both sides to understand it. Because there are jobs and there are candidates, but how do you, like play the matchmaker? So, what is that gap?
uh if I can be very clear, right, like
Sure.
the clear thing that I have seen in terms of how both sides are is
Hmm.
they need to be clear on what is it that they're hiring for, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Like in my one of my recent interview with Dharmesh, he was user research interviews that I had done with him.
Yeah.
He basically said that you don't need to hire a user researcher if you do not know what's the work that you're basically giving,
Yeah.
right? It makes no sense if you're hiring somebody and then expecting an output out of them if you are not clear. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the exact point, right? You do not need to hire somebody if you do not, if you think you can manage it, or you know you can, you don't require somebody's input in your daily life. Or
Yeah.
just be honest and stay upfront that I just need a visual designer with these UI skills. It's not even UI designer with the visual skills. It's more like
Yeah.
I just need a visual designer with UI skills.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
is where a lot of information gets messed up, because
Hmm.
the input
Hmm.
that comes in that says that, hey, you require an information architect, you require this, you require that, but you also know for a fact that it's not just you need an information architect. At the end of the day, you are just looking at, do I have a visual designer who's doing this work, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
need to look at that gap and say that if I am going to hire somebody, let them do this work fully. Then
Yeah.
let me not step in the way and say that you're not delivering, or this is not the person that I'm looking
Hmm.
for. So
Hmm.
that is where a lot of people get confused. And so
Mm-hmm.
education needs to be on both sides, right? It's not just
Hmm.
the business side that I'm questioning, I'm also questioning the design side, which basically is like, I can give you this, I can give you this, I can give you this, I can,
Yeah.
like, you, yes, you have too many skills. I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate the fact that you have put on a lot of skills, but
Hmm.
if you look at it like a little higher level, you can actually see that you are the same old vanilla flavor as the other person. Like,
Hmm.
what is it that you are bringing to the table that makes you forever hireable, forever
Hmm.
employable?
Hmm.
Like, right,
Hmm.
employment, it
Yeah.
doesn't mean that full-time employment contract, not, no, I'm not talking about that. Employment
Yeah.
means somebody is willing to take your skills and give you something in return, whether it is
Exactly. Hmm.
mentorship, advisory, hey, are you ready to, exchange of value in any form. It be
Hmm.
monetary, it could be anything.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that is something that if you can distinguish yourself, you will stay forever employable. So
Hmm.
this
Hmm.
gap of understanding needs to be from both sides, and they need to say that, okay, you need to understand what this side goes through when they are hiring
Yeah.
somebody, you need to
Yeah.
understand what this side goes through when you are trying to hire somebody. If that
Hmm.
gap is not understood, I assume, in my opinion, this will keep going. Or
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
need a strong recession time to basically come and define your thing and say that
Hmm.
this is
Hmm.
not going to work out, we are going to optimize, so one person
Hmm.
will do x to y jobs, because now
Hmm.
they're clear, they cannot spend on, a
Yeah.
lot of in between roles. They're just going to go and say that I'm going to spend on one person who will do this one job. So
Yeah.
you need to have this thought process even when you're not in a recession time. It cannot
Hmm.
be like, I'm only when there is recession I will think about that. That is
Yeah.
going to be a lot of back and forth.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
in my opinion, that's the biggest gap that I see.